back when I'm sipping. Black Escalade. With all of my niggas. Calls from their prisons. From careless decisions. Trying to upgrade your life.
What's up?
Trying to spin off your pivot.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Rob with Chill Alchemy. Let me turn that down a little bit. Give y'all a chance to come on in here. Holla at me. Let me know you in here when you in here. Hold on. Let me put it on my comment. Okay, cool. Now I can see the comments. What's up, Tina? I'm gonna let Nip ride for a minute because he all up in this story. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm in my altar room. I'm in here with the ancestors. Nip got his spot on this particular altar over there with the Jade Emperor. Peace, Remy. Peace, how you doing? My energy is probably going to get very elevated. Hey, Brittany. Because this is something that is very, very dear to me. Beyond anything that most people can understand. And I'm going to break all of it down to you. All of it down to you. My own personal experience. This is a personal thing that I'm involved with. So, today, what we going to talk about... Let me turn him off. All right, brother. I'm going to holler at you in a minute. So, today, what we're going to talk about is... peace, y'all. This little Nas X ritual, because that's what it is, and how it relates to a major spiritual battle, spiritual warfare that's been going on, how it relates to Nipsey. I'm going to break down the numerology of it all. I'm going to break down how it relates to our black mothers in particular. So if you know fake ass, and I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all know how Beyonce got that alter ego, Sasha Fierce? My alter ego is Frank. And when Frank show up, peace, when Frank show up, peace, Nuru, no Frank. When Frank show up, Frank don't give a fuck about nobody's feelings. Frank don't give a fuck about nothing politically correct. Frank is here to speak on behalf of the mission. So I speak very frankly, all of that to say. So that's how I'm feeling right now. So why though? Because let me just explain how this even came upon me. And this is definitely a spirit-led message. So yesterday I posted about Lil Nas X, and y'all done seen the video where, you did name that energy new, where y'all done seen the video where let me explain the video to you. He starts off in this video as a girl in the Garden of Eden, and then he gets seduced by this serpent energy, ends up selling himself over for this fame and fortune, and then at the end of the video, he's literally dancing on and letting this devil fuck him. And at the end, you know, all the super conscious fake ass witches, and we're gonna talk about them, they all trying to like justify it, saying, well, he ends up killing the devil in the end. No, he ends up merging as one with the devil. I'm sick of you dumb motherfuckers trying to justify this satanic shit. And I'm going to tell you and talk to you how you have fallen off your square, and how you are letting the bloodline that you're supposed to be protecting, you're letting them down. Okay? All right. So you got this inflated ego from learning a little bit of occult science. But the thing about it is you done jumped out there with your ass in the air thinking you know something. And just like anybody else, the reason that it does get described as dark is because it has the potential to use you when you are not firmly rooted in God energy and God frequency. And that's what's happening to you silly bitches. And I'm calling you silly bitches because you want to argue with me about, do I believe in the devil? I believe that there is definitely an energy, okay? There's opposition and duality in everything. Now, I believe that you can be used and seduced into a power that is the dual nature of a godly energy. But just like there's light, there is dark. And if you're out here thinking that that doesn't exist, you are spiritually immature. Okay, that is an immaturity that gives you an arrogance and an inflated sense of ego to think that you are not subject to this kind of shit. And this is how you get your ass taken and ate up, and they use you. Okay, I'm not going off on you, brother. And they use, yeah, you are the light and you are the dark, Siren. Okay, it's all within you. It's not about religion. I don't preach religion at all, sweetheart. You don't know anything about me. So you can go too. Either you're going to listen and accept some knowledge, you can get the fuck on, because this ain't got nothing to do with religion. Before you step on here with that shit, number one. Now, if you want to hear something, zip it for a second. So anyway, this ain't about no religion. This is about a spiritual war, okay? And the war is for a bloodline and rulership over this dominion, okay? That is what has been going on for ages, okay? We're going to run it back to King Solomon today. He up there too, next to Nipsey on the altar, okay? So all you fake, see, this is the problem that I have. Y'all get introduced to spirituality and only want to use it for your selfish means and neglect the role that you have as a protector. Number one, you're not afforded this love. This is why the knowledge wasn't made and given to the common people in the past, because they didn't know how to handle it. They hadn't had the discipline. They were not disciples. The word disciple is one who is disciplined enough to handle the science. And so they get it and use it for selfish means. Yes, the power is there. Just like the other side of the fence is using this same energy for their own evil, to perpetuate their own evil agenda. So yes, the shit is real, brother. Satanic ritual is real, okay? And using the energy in bodies and souls of children is very real, and it's something that is happening in the world today on a wide basis. And if you don't understand it, then you need to wake the fuck up. Okay, it ain't about religion. It's about what the fuck is going on outside the door right now and the fight that we are all participating in on one side or the other. Okay, so now let's run it down. Somebody said on this post that I made that the devil cannot take your soul. It has to be surrendered. And when I talk about the devil, I am speaking of an energy that is rooted, okay, in darkness and perpetuates and feeds off of fear. There are only two energies in this world, two things in this world when you break and distill all of this shit down. There is fear and there is love. And God is love. Anything opposite that is something rooted in fear. And you can put a whole bunch of stuff in that umbrella. So now, the devil, evil, this energy, okay, you have to surrender to it. So let's keep this word surrender in context, okay? Because that is a key word to what is going on here. And the energy all of this is feeding off of is an energy of surrender. Okay, so let me run some numerology down to you, okay? And this started 3 years ago, this same weekend. I was in Hawaii having a beautiful time with my friends. I was out, we was having a beautiful mushroom journey, most beautiful day I've ever had. And I get this call from my son letting me know that Nipsey Hussle had just died. Shout out to King Nip the Drip, okay? This was on March 31st, 2019. If you run the numerology of 3312019, it equals the number 19, okay? Now, there are some things about Nipsey and his bloodline that I'm going to explain to you that are very, very significant to this, okay? But let's keep going. Around this same time, last year, what did they introduce to the world? COVID-19, okay? We're going to break down the energy of the word COVID and how it relates to the mother and the surrender of the mother. But if you break down the gematria in the Hebrew understanding of the word COVID, it means the divine mother, the Shekinah, and 19, as we'll talk about, equals surrender. Then we fast forward to today, yesterday, whatever day that was, and Lil Nas X put this video out. And the thing about the video is not where the ritual gets completed, the third leg of the ritual gets completed. The video was just to plant the subliminal seed in the subconscious with the imagery, okay? The ritual gets completed when they release the shoe. The shoe comes out on, what's tomorrow? Damn, I had wrote the numbers down. Anyway, the shoe comes out, I think it's tomorrow. And if you add the numbers up, it's 19. And the thing about the shoe is that the shoe, which is being promoted by Lil Nas X, contains 660 milliliters of a special ink that they don't talk about, and a drop of human blood, okay? In this shoe that they're releasing under this 19 number. So you got 3 years where they are doing something on the number 19. Now let me break down the significance with Nipsey, okay? Because anybody who knows me and who follows me, my friend, whatever, knows that I have a serious tie to this man's energy. And what you have to understand is, like, I'm gonna be real with y'all for a minute. This is stuff I've never shared with anybody. Nipsey passed last March, and on July 20th of last year, he started visiting me in my dreams a lot. Nuru can attest to it, because she would be there at the house with me and I would be like, sis, he came again. And I have a book this big of dreams where this man comes to me and tells me things about his death, about the significance of it, and about his bloodline in particular, okay? There's something about my genetic coding that makes this possible and makes me a recipient of it. And he's giving me things that I have to do, you know, to help him in this particular mission. So he showed me how his bloodline is the same lineage. It's a bloodline of galactic royalty. It's the same lineage as the Christ energy. It's the same lineage as King Solomon. It's the same lineage as Haile Selassie. It carries a royal lineage, a royal signature that is the signature of God. So this is not about religion. This is about how God in this story plays out in real life, okay? So one of the things he showed me about his bloodline and about his death is that he had to be taken out of here in order for them to even have enough room for their plan to operate. And so we talk about what they are trying to do is to not even establish a bloodline rulership in this domain. They're trying to keep one intact. Okay, so we talked about the 3 19s. If you add 19 up 3 times, you get 52. If you break 52 down, I mean, not 52, 50, yeah, 52. Hold on. How did we break that down? It was 57. Sorry, my bad, y'all. 19 times 3 is 57. I can't do math. If you break 57 down, it's 12. And as you know, 12 is the ruler. So they're doing this ritual with the blood. The 3rd time is to establish a rulership, a bloodline rulership in this dominion, okay? So let's take it back to the significance of the number 19. The number 19 is a word in ancient terms. It is the number of surrender, okay? So let's talk about it. In the Bible, so there was the ancient United Kingdom, which is the kingdom that King Solomon ruled in 900 BC, okay? It was known as the ancient United Kingdom, where the official bloodline of the true kings of kings of the God lineage, okay, was established. Now, it's split into 2 after the death of King Solomon, all right? And then what ended up happening is that the UK that you know now, which tried to dub itself as the United Kingdom and have the world believe that it holds the royal bloodline, that is a false draconian reptilian bloodline. And the reason that they are able to stay in power is because they have 3 legs. They have the United Kingdom, they have the Catholic Church, and they have the U.S. government and army. And that is how they have been able to perpetuate this false rule for so long, this false sense of dominion. Y'all weren't paying attention, but over the summer, the actual seal of the Queen of England was taken off of the gates, okay, which represents that she's no longer really in leadership over there. And y'all hear me talk about this all the time, the 0-0 reset, the establishment of the true kingdom of God. This is something that has happened as the result of eons of spiritual warfare taking place, okay? Some of you are participating in it when you're in your 5D. There are some spiritual warriors that are here, that, including myself, that participate in this battle all the time. But you are a more willing participant in what's happening in the 3D. And our black women have become the most willing participants. It is through them that the surrender is being completed, okay? So that's why when these women try to argue with me in defense of what this man is perpetuating with this imagery to our children, okay? Because you got to understand that that's the seed they after. They ain't after our raggedy asses. We done been washed up and then seen it all. They after the children. This is why they traffic children. This is why they commit these atrocities against children. Okay? They need the power, the purity, and the sanctity of that untouched soul. So when you leave your children out here to, oh, Lil Nas X, he just expressing how he didn't have to fight against being gay, and he ended up killing the devil in the end, which means he won, bitch, you stupid. Okay? He's not focusing this for children. They paraded this man in elementary schools and on Sesame Street for 2 years as a role model, as a Trojan horse for them to usher in this bullshit. And y'all are taking it in the name of being politically correct, in the name of wanting to see a whole nother message of something, some other bullshit that you are associating with your own inflated spiritual ego. Okay, so you can look super fucking conscious, woke next to the next bitch. Okay, and in the meantime, you're giving up your souls. You're surrendering the souls of your children to be yapped up and caught up. So yeah, the devil does have to have a surrender, but you are the gate. You are supposed to be the gatekeeper. And at one point, black women, we were the spiritual gatekeepers and protectors of our children and our communities. And now you bitches is giving it up in the name of being woke and politically correct, and it's making me sick. So let's talk about this number 19 again. Okay, so, and I have notes because y'all know I'm a nerd. All right, so after the number 19 appears in the Bible, and you have to understand that the Bible is all encoded metaphysical science. It's written in these stories, but each one of these places, each one of these tribes represents a different function of you and your spiritual journey, okay? So, the Israelites, we all know the story of the Israelites. They were cast into exile after turning against God, right? And it took them 40 years for them to fall from exile and to go back into the light. And that represents simply the fall of man into our lower selves and the journey up back into Christ consciousness. So for whoever was on here talking about it ain't religion, nigga, I know, okay? Chill. But anyway, the number 19 and how it's encoded in the Bible. Let me go, because I had put the, damn, you know what? I can't do it. I can look it up on there. So let's see. After King Solomon, when they fell into exile, I know what it was. So God turned the Israelites over to the Assyrians, and that's how they fell into exile. But this only happened after they had been under the rulership of 19 different kings. So it's like God gave them, it's symbolic, it's metaphysics, open your mind. God gave the people 19 chances before he surrendered them over into exile and let them fall, okay? That's one time it's in the Bible. Another time that it's in the Bible is when it talks about the Naphtali. Okay, the Naphtali is one of the 12 original tribes of one of the 12 original Jewish tribes, okay? Again, they all represent something metaphysical. The thing about the Naphtali, and this is how you have to always see yourself in the story. The Naphtali was first described as a son that was born of Rachel's handmaiden. So Rachel was one of the divine mothers of the Bible. She represents a characteristic of the divine mother. Her servant had a baby, which is considered an inferior child to the kingdom, but Rachel raised the child, and it was told that the child Naphtali grew up to have an eloquence, and he could speak the word of God, and he was noble. And so even after they went into exile, that he ended up having these tribes, and they went into exile, the actual Naphtali tribe was honored with 19 tribes of its own and given the most fertile land in Israel because of their warriorship for God. So they were fighters for God and God's kingdom. And because of that, they were rewarded. Now, if you look at it in the Bible, where does it appear? In Joshua chapter 19, verse 38. 19 times 2 is 38. Okay? The Bible is encoded with some cold metaphysics if you can just open up to understand it. In metaphysical terms, in terms of the body, the Naphtali represents the kidneys, okay? And the word actually means to struggle, to wrestle, to fight. So it is the kidneys is where you have your fight or flight response, okay? And their job, the kidney's job in the body is to what? Keep the blood pure, okay? All of this is encoded in the Bible that we have turned away from in our own spiritual arrogance, okay? And I'm not a Christian, okay? I don't subscribe to any religion, but I do follow science, okay? So we have to come down and really understand what we are given the jewels for, okay? So the thing about the fight, the Naphtali were the worshipers. I mean, not the worshipers, the warriors. So they didn't surrender. And because they didn't surrender, they fought. Even if you look in Islam in this number 19, in the Quran, it talks about there being 19 angels that guard hell. And passing through each one of these angels is a trial for those who disbelieve. So there's a second instance of you being put on trial and God giving you these chances to prove yourself to be a warrior for the kingdom of God. And you only have so many times to fail and surrender, okay, before you get cast into exile. And if you don't understand that that's what's happening right now with us and everything that we're being bombarded with and these choices that we have to make, I say all the time, the line has been drawn in the sand. And you have to choose what you are going to fight for, what you are going to honor in every action that you take. And if you have been blessed with any kind of knowledge, of any kind of magic, of any kind of spiritual power, of any kind of power in prayer, and you're using it only for your selfish means and not for the protection of these children and not for the establishment of righteousness in this realm, then you have chosen what side you are standing on. And it is in the hands of the mother. So let me go back to the word COVID, and I'm going to tie this all together for you. COVID in the Kabbalah, in Hebrew, the word kavod is the Shekinah. The Shekinah is the divine mother. She represents the divine feminine, the feminine half of God that never gets talked about. Shekinah also represents the number 19, which represents the one who receives the light and fountains it out to the 9 others. Okay? So it is through the woman who receives the light, it is her job to fountain it out to the others. So what the fuck are you fountaining out? All of you women who are not on your post, your spiritual post, what are you fountaining out? You're either fountaining out light or you're fountaining out darkness. There's no in between. It might look like it because you done wrapped it up in some politically correct terms, talking about somebody's fucking self. We don't give a fuck about no civil rights right now. This is a spiritual war. Civil rights is some fucking distraction to keep you distracted from your spiritual mission, okay? Yeah, it's all good. We want people to be treated equally, but if we had spiritual law in place and established, you wouldn't have to fight for no civil rights. Go to the core of the issue. Don't get distracted by the symptoms that they present to you, okay? So it is through the mother. So for all those women who were challenging me, you have to understand that this is a fight for souls. And the way that they win is through an act of surrender. They don't even have to come in with no guns because we laying up, giving it up. Here, take the babies. Take the little boys and make all the little boys homosexual. Take our little girls, turn them, trick them out, put them up for sex trafficking, abduct our children. We don't give a damn. We're not going to do anything about it spiritually because we're doing money rituals and get a nigga rituals. Okay, you are misusing the knowledge that has been bestowed upon you. And don't think that it won't come back on you, man. That's all I got to say. So, you know, people that work with me, I teach them how to bring and anchor light into this realm. That's all that I'm about. Whoever I help along the way of my mission of anchoring light down here and reestablishing the true kingdom of true rulership of God, because it's so much bigger than anything else that's being presented to you. Everything else is, you know, is just part of my portion of my blessings for doing my job. Okay? So you have a line. The line has been drawn in the sand, and you have to pick which side you're gonna ride with. Shout out to King Nip. This is the second anniversary of his transition. He has come to me in so many forms and with so many messages. And I'm going to say this in the last one that I had, and it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But he showed himself in the true nature of his name of God will rise. Okay? And it confirmed the message that had been emblazoned in my heart that God always wins. So when I say pick a side, you better pick that motherfucker carefully, because don't think that you can choose the wrong side and get away with it, because God always wins. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. This has been a Trill Alchemy on your ass rant. Peace, y'all. Peace.